The town appeared at exactly 12:17 a.m. I remember the time because my dashboard clock flickered when it happened, like the car itself was confused. I was driving through a stretch of road I'd taken dozens of times before. No towns, no exits, just trees and asphalt stretching into the darkness. It was one of those drives where the silence starts to feel heavy, pressing in on you from all sides. My phone had lost signal miles back, and the radio was nothing but a constant hissing static, a sound that quickly grates on your nerves when you're alone in the dead of night. Then the fog rolled in. It wasn't gradual. 1 second, the road ahead was clear, a black ribbon disappearing into the horizon. The next, my headlights were swallowed, barely reaching 10 feet ahead. The world shrank to a tiny illuminated bubble. I slowed the car to a crawl, my knuckles white from gripping the steering wheel. That's when something impossible appeared through the dense white wall. Streetlights. Tall, old-fashioned streetlights, the kind you see in old movies, glowing a dull, sickly yellow. A moment later, a sign emerged beside the road, its paint chipped and peeling, the metal underneath showing through like old bones. As soon as my car passed the sign, the fog vanished. It didn't lift or dissipate. It was just gone. The town sat there, perfectly still under a starless sky. Every building looked ancient brick storefronts with faded awnings, narrow streets, a small diner on the corner. All the lights were on, casting long, eerie shadows, yet there wasn't a single car moving. No voices, no wind. It felt like I had driven into a photograph, a moment frozen in time. I parked near the diner. Its windows glowed with a warm, inviting light, and I convinced myself I was just tired, that my mind was playing tricks on me. The bell above the door chimed as I stepped inside, the sound unnaturally loud in the profound silence. The diner was spotless, too clean. It was the kind of clean that feels unused, like no one had touched anything in years. A woman stood behind the counter, a fixed plastic smile on her face. "Evening," she said. Her voice was smooth, but held no warmth. "You're late." I was taken aback. What? She corrected herself quickly, her smile never wavering. "Passing through?" "Yeah," I said, my unease growing. "Just needed a coffee." Her smile never reached her eyes. They were dark, vacant pools. As she turned to pour the coffee, I noticed every booth in the diner was occupied. People sat silently, staring down at their empty plates. None of them moved. None of them blinked. They were like mannequins dressed in outdated clothes. I took a seat at the counter, trying to ignore the chilling stillness of the other patrons. That's when I saw the words, carved faintly into the dark wood of the countertop. "Don't stay past midnight." I looked up at the woman, my heart starting to hammer against my ribs. "Is this some kind of joke?" Her hand froze on the coffee pot. Her smile tightened. "You didn't see that," she said, her voice dropping to a soft, menacing whisper. Before I could respond, a man in the booth directly behind me leaned forward, his voice a frantic, hushed breath right next to my ear. "Listen to me," he whispered, his words tumbling out in a rush. "You need to leave, now." I turned slowly to face him. His face was pale, almost translucent, and his eyes were wide with a terror so profound it made my blood run cold. "Why?" I asked, my own voice barely a whisper. "Because this town only appears at night," he said, his gaze darting nervously toward the woman behind the counter. "And when morning comes, it takes something with it." The lights in the diner flickered. Once, twice. The woman behind the counter stiffened, her posture rigid. "It's almost time," she said, her voice flat, devoid of any emotion. Then a deep bell began to ring somewhere outside, a mournful, tolling sound that seemed to vibrate through my bones. 1, 2, 12 times. Midnight. The moment the last bell faded, every person in the diner stood up. Not one by one, but at the exact same moment. Chairs scraped against the floor, in perfect, horrifying unison. They turned and began walking toward the back of the diner, their movements stiff and unnatural. "Where are they going?" I whispered to the man. "To hide," he said, grabbing my arm. His hand was icy. "And you should too." Then the lights went out. The darkness was absolute, a thick, suffocating blanket. And in that blackness came the sound. Something heavy, dragging itself along the street outside. A slow, wet, scraping noise, like flesh being pulled across rough pavement. A breath followed a deep, cavernous inhale that was too vast, too guttural to be human. And then, my name was whispered from just outside the diner window. My own name, spoken in a chorus of dry, crackling voices. I froze, every muscle in my body locking up. "Ignore it," the man hissed from the darkness beside me. "Don't look. If it knows you see it, it keeps you." I don't know why I looked. Maybe it was morbid curiosity. Maybe it was just pure, stupid fear, but I did. I turned my head toward the window. Under the faint, ghostly glow of the streetlight, something tall and wrong stood in the middle of the road. Its body was bent and twisted, as if it didn't quite understand the human shape it was trying to mimic. Its face was a smooth, blank canvas, no eyes, no nose, just a wide, gaping mouth stretched into a grotesque, permanent smile. The diner door creaked open. The lights snapped back on with a loud hum. The booths were all empty. Everyone was gone. The creature was now standing inside the diner, and beside it was the woman from the counter, her smile wider than ever. "You can stay," she said to me, her voice now layered with the same crackling echo I heard outside. "Most do." The man beside me let out a short, choked scream. The sound cut off instantly. Then there was only me. I ran. I bolted out of the diner and into the street, my lungs burning. I ran past buildings that seemed to rot and decay right before my eyes. Paint peeled from walls in long strips, windows cracked and shattered, the entire town aging centuries in mere seconds. I fumbled for my keys, reached my car, and slammed the door shut. I jammed the key in the ignition and turned. The engine wouldn't start. It just clicked uselessly. I looked at the dashboard clock. It read 12:17 a.m., the exact same time I arrived. The creature stood at the end of the road, blocking my only way out. "You may leave," it said, its layered, hollow voice filling the car. "But you must forget this place." The fog rushed back in, thick and immediate, erasing the town from view. Suddenly, I was driving. The engine was humming. I was on the same empty road, surrounded by the same dark trees. My phone had signal. The radio played a soft, familiar song. It was like nothing had ever happened. For a moment, I thought it was all a nightmare. I thought I was safe, until I found a diner receipt in my glove compartment the next morning. A receipt from Marrow's Edge, dated 1979, and now, every single night, at exactly 12:17 a.m., my lights flicker. I see fog gathering at the edge of my street, and I know Marrow's Edge is still out there, just beyond the veil of our world, waiting for someone else to stop. Thanks for listening. Subscribe for more stories from the dark.